call him Sonny Larry. Didn't you and he used to be the best of friends?
We're still the best of friends.
No, you're not.
Who says we're not?
Sit somewhere else.
Now, if I've done something to you, just tell me what I've done to you.
But you didn't do anything to me. I just don't like you no more.
You didn't like me yesterday.
Why does he not want to be friends with you no more? What is he, 12?
What the hell's going on with you, me feckin' brother?
He's dull, Siobhan.
But he's always been done.
The other night, 2 hours you spent talking to me about the things you found in your little donkey shite that day.
Well, it wasn't me little donkey's shite, it was me pony's shite, which shows how much you were listening.
If you don't stop talking to me,
Colin!
and if you don't stop bothering me, I have a set of shears at home, and each time you bother me from this day on, I'll take those shears and I'll take one of my fingers off with them, and I'll give that finger to you until I have no fingers left. Does this make things clearer to you?
Not really, no.
Starting from now. But shush like, Polly. You know, shush like.
Yeah, I'd shush like. Would you not want him to have to do the one finger to see if he was bluffing, like?
No, we wouldn't.
Because worse comes to worse, he can still play the fiddle with 4 fingers, I bet ya.
Going back to your own gang now, Polly.
And talking to me! Are you?
Why aren't you talking to Porrick no more?
That wouldn't be a sin now, would it, Father?
No, but it's not very nice either, is it?
Do you know who we remember for how nice they was in the 17th century?
Who?
Absolutely no one. Yet we all remember the music of the time. Everyone to a man knows Mozart's name.
I don't, so there goes that theory.
Can't be waiting around for any more of this madness.
Let's just call it quits.
We won't call it quits. We'll call it the start.
How do, fair podcast listener, and welcome back to Fine Movies, Fine Spirits, where today, well, folks, have you ever had that sense, a tremendous sense of time slipping away on you? And you think you need to spend the time you have left thinking and composing? Well, I promise you that today you will not be listening to a dull thing as we travel back to 1920s Ireland for the Banshees of Inisherin, a movie about friendship falling apart, which at some moments in this film felt like it was almost a documentary. But before I get into that, I wanted to let you know that even though I don't have a pint poured for me today, I do have a nice glass of George Killian's Irish Red. See, it's Irish. But I'm not...
Drink it. Drink it.
Oh, my God.
Drink it.
And I took a sip. But I'm not taking it outside alone. No. I'm joined once again by my usual gents. First up is a man who, he used to be nice, or did he never used to be nice? Oh, God, maybe he never used to be, but there's still time. There's still time for you, Mr. Christopher Morris. How are you doing, pal, and what are you drinking this fine evening?
Doing well, Michael. I am drinking a pint of Guinness. I just had another one down at the pub.
Very, very good.
Excited for this.
I'm glad. I am as well. And next up is a man who, I'm not sure if he's drunk tonight. I prefer him when he's drunk. It's the rest of the time I have a problem with him. He's not dull. He's a happy lad. And I'm not trying to be nice. I'm trying to be accurate. Mr. David Corsetto, I have a couple things I need to ask you. But first up, how are you doing and what are you drinking this fine evening?
Like I said earlier, I'm really, this movie has intensified my hatred for you.
Interesting.
The look of your face, I just want to punch it right now, to be honest.
No, okay.
And second of all, shut up.
I love this galley.
I'm just drinking a little bit of whiskey, Irish whiskey, some Jameson with no ice. So,
Very good.
I approve,
now,
Dave. I approve.
Now, Chris doesn't know this, but David called me earlier today to say that this movie is how we are both going to end up. But he said he's calm, even though he looks more like Patrick. He then went on to quiz me about Alexander the Great to prove how smart he is. All of this is true. All of this happened. But, David, how in the world could we end up like this? We've been friends since 1980, over
Because you're
44,
a recluse. You stay in your house all
over
day long.
44 years. Shut the fuck up. Over 44 years of friendship. So, with that
Ugh.
said, I have 3 quick questions to ask you, my friend of 97% of my life. I've been friends with you since I was 3 years old. David, when is my birthday?
August 12th.
How do you spell my last name?
Correia.
And what is the name of the website that this podcast has been on for the last 3 years?
Well, it's Fans on Experts because it's right there on my screen.
Damn you!
That's it right there.
David, I am shocked. I gave it away.
3, 4, 3.
Oh no, he got two out of 3.
How about
He
what?
doesn't know my birthday.
Oh, he spelled your name.
But here's the thing,
Uh-oh,
Chris. Here's what you don't understand. Maybe 3 days ago, we had this exact conversation where I had him doing prices right, picking higher, lower, till he got my birthday.
That's
You
great.
got the right month, baby, but you're about 8 days off. But that's okay. That's okay. I don't expect.
Ask him the name of this movie.
I know that on October 19th he's celebrating a giant birthday, and it's very exciting. But I'm just shocked that you spelled my name right. It took a while. You went against your instinct. I know you did, because you've always been wrong. So you thought IEA, and you changed it at the last minute. Well done. Okay, enough of that. This movie is our life.
I love it. I love it. It's perfect. Dave, what's the name of this movie?
Banshees of Inisherin?
Yeah, we'll take it.
I thought he was going to
He's
say
on
Ed
a roll, this
Sheeran.
guy. Inisherin.
Listen,
Well done.
Listen, you got me onto this movie last year. I watched it twice. This is being the second time. And I watched it the second time with subtitles. And holy shit, did I pick up way more than I did the first time.
Yeah, I definitely watched it with
friggin-
subtitles
the
too.
actors were
Especially Dominic.
hard.
Dominic has Dominic's accent and Siobhan. Siobhan.
such a great movie. Such good, great dialogue that I missed the first time I watched it, to be honest.
Yeah. The dialogue is the best part of it. Mikey, I'll let you finish your
Oh yes.
intro to the movie.
And I just want to say this movie, every time while I'm watching it, while I'm going through it, it stresses me out. It gets to a point where it doesn't
Yes.
as much, but it stresses me out. So this,
I have to watch Curb Your Enthusiasm now to get myself off that friggin' dramatic fall.
that's how
It's
because
depressing.
we're afraid that's how we're going to end up.
Oh,
You,
that's
the
how we're
simple
ending
happy
up.
lad, and me, the composer. The
What year, Mikey?
Okay,
What are
yes,
the?
yes.
Give us.
This is from 2022, written and directed by Martin McDonough, starring Colin Farrell, Brendan Gleeson, Kerry Condon, and Barry Keoghan. I looked up how to pronounce his last name.
all amazing.
It has only a 75% in the audience score because they're idiots, 96% in the critics score of Rotten Tomatoes. On a $20 million budget that I feel like probably went mostly to salary, it had only a box office of $52 million globally, which is still a hit. It's a very renowned movie. As far as the Academy Awards went, all 4 actors that I named above, all 4 of them were nominated. Farrell for lead actor, and
Deservedly
the other
so.
3 were for supporting actor and supporting actress. All 4 of them lost to either Brendan Fraser or the cast of Everything, Everywhere,
Everything,
All at Once.
Holland didn't win
Nope. Brendan Fraser won for The Whale.
No, Brendan Fraser won Best Actor.
for The Whale?
Yeah.
Ugh, God.
It was also up for Best Screenplay, Best Director, and Best Picture.
I don't know how. Well,
all of them
I
to
mean,
Everything,
everywhere, all at once. But the screenplay of this movie is incredible.
It's a play. It could easily be a play.
It is a play, but of course, the cinematography and the score are amazing, right? I mean, just the the shots of Ireland,
And is
amazing. But go ahead.
so I have one question. Is their friendship a metaphor for the Irish Civil War, or is the Irish Civil War a metaphor for their friendship? Like, is
I mean, I think
both kind of?
I think you could say both. The Irish Civil War, I believe, is kind of a metaphor. It's kind of an obvious, but not like, just like a subtle metaphor.
Yeah, it was at the
You know what I
end where I
mean?
felt like that's
That
where-
doesn't make sense when I say obvious but
Oh,
subtle,
yeah.
but it doesn't mean exactly like it's just like a nod to it. It's not like supposed to be the, no deeper meaning than just a war. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And
As these two guys come to war. So
I have to
Well,
say
one
that
Yep.
one takes longer than the other, though.
yeah, this one
Which
goes quick.
it was. What's that?
This one went a lot quicker than the actual war. This one heated up
Yeah.
quick. But
well, it wasn't over. It's just the start.
am I the only one at the point I was like, chop off your whole fucking hand? I don't care. I'll actually keep coming to your house until you chop off your head. Like,
Well, I mean, here's the thing. I debated this with my son who didn't watch the movie, but like, I don't know. Like, the guy could have been a little nicer to Colin, right?
yeah,
Colin was
to Patrick.
a bitch.
Oh wait a minute.
You're gonna have to use their character names.
Yeah, kind of a bitch. Like, you don't just end a friendship because you feel like that person's dim-witted and he's wasting your life.
Right. You don't just say I don't
Well,
ever
of
want to be a
course.
friend anymore.
If that's the
Of
case,
course,
would I be fighting right now? Because I fucking
it's
ugh.
it's all Shakespearean. It's not like a
Yeah.
realistic.
Like, there's
kind
no
of-
way in reality
thing, but-
a grown adult would say to you, I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to be your friend anymore. I'm never going to talk to you again. No grown adult would ever say that to another grown man. Ever.
When did Dave do that to you?
What month? When?
I know, but so wouldn't you like to have seen them hang out for a day? You know what I mean? After the fact, you're like, oh, I'd love to see.
It was a year ago, 2 years ago.
Patrick and like his mindless.
Like a prequel to this? Like to see
Not really, but wouldn't you be interested just to see him talking 2 hours about his what's in his donkey shite? Shows how much you were paying attention. It was my pony shite that I was telling me. So as Mikey had pointed out on his other pod that he and I think we both did this, or I left you a message.
so.
When you did movie month, it's funny. Everybody on our group text, who have vastly different tastes, just immediately warmed up to this movie, and
my brother.
Sean even everybody. Well, except maybe Paul.
So he's
Paul
got
probably couldn't find it. He's always been dull.
He's always been a little bit of a simpleton.
I'm
brother.
as smart as you, at least. fucking hell.
Hilarious when he's. Well, yeah, we'll go over some of the best lines, the best scenes. But I was, I guess I'm mostly meaning, everybody that saw it loved it, especially Sean, who famously, not your brother Sean, Mike, your brother-in-law Dave, who famously loves Dirty Grandpa, which I've mentioned before. But the fact that he
even someone with his
immediately loved
questionable
this
taste.
movie. Yes, it just shows how the dialogue is just so clever and funny. Like, obviously, we talked about how the first half of the movie, it's you are laughing, right? I mean, just the lines are hilarious. Dominic, who's such a sad character,
asking him
is
his sister naked.
Yeah.
One of the funniest.
that's like it's a totally normal thing, right?
I like when he's the one who
Some
says,
of Dominic's line.
he says, what are you, 12? Like, he's the one with the common
Yes.
sense.
No, he says
12?
he did have he did have common sense. He was we find out that Patrick thinks he's I forget what the phrase he used. He's the idiot of the island when he's going, like you said. He said to Siobhan, I'm at least as smart as you.
You're not dim. You're a nice man, all right? So move on.
I'm as clever as you anyways. I know that at least.
Don't be fucking stupid.
But when Dominic stays at their house and says touche, and
Yep.
and Patrick says to what? And it's funny because he and his sister kind of look at each other like they realize he is the dumb one, really.
Yeah.
He is the simpleton.
Well, and that's
Nice guy.
The movie is it's easy to watch in a sense, but it's definitely very doomish the whole time you're watching.
Oh.
Like gloomy.
Yes.
It's always gray forecast. Like it's never sunny there.
No.
It's always cloudy.
Well, there's a rainbow right away. That's which is obviously supposed to be Patrick walking to the pub with like a smile on his face, so happy.
Yeah.
His world about to be turned upside down.
Just
But
out of
it's
nowhere.
so. Had you seen In Bruges,
No,
Mikey?
I have not.
You've heard of
Yes,
it.
I know it's the same guys and like same actors, same director.
Same actor, same director, very different movie. You should watch
I-
it. It's got a very different
It's like
tone,
it's
lighter
like a
tone,
fun
even
movie.
though
Yeah, I
it is fun. There's some dark things that happen. It's a dark comedy, but and the characters are kind of reversed. Not to
And then the
not spoil
sister,
anything, but
I was like, why do I know her? What have I seen her in? Do you know what you know her from? Better Call Saul.
you mentioned. Oh yes, he's
She's
the right Mike's
yeah, the
daughter-in-law.
which
You
like
mentioned that in the past.
completely, the accent is, perfect American accent. But I also
Yes,
like
right. You would
Colin
know.
Farrell is like he usually sometimes he'll play the cool guy, the tough guy, and he plays such a meek, simple, nice, you know,
Yes,
uh,
but it's
hey,
almost
lad.
it's funny. So he is nice, but it's also he's pretty self-centered. You know what I mean? Like just goes is friendly to everybody. They say he's a nice guy, but obviously the point of the movie is that he turns, he changes.
Yeah, and
And
he doesn't
that's what
he doesn't
this
want anything
act
to change
does to
around
him.
him, but it does, and it changes him.
Right.
Well,
So
the whole like his whole letter to his sister at the end was gut wrenching
Oh,
because
which was hilarious, except the first line was hilarious when he says, I obviously Shaban says I am I'm ensconced in my new settings and this.
Dear Siobhan, obviously I don't know what ensconced is.
That's his first line.
oh,
Which he actually has a point. Like, does she think he's gonna know what that
right.
means?
But
No.
it killed me
But, like,
with
everything that she thinks he's telling her everything that she wants to hear, I think, right? And
Yes, well, he doesn't tell him about
following them.
Jenny. He tells him about Dominic, but
oh,
Yeah.
so I mean, he loses everything, right?
Yeah.
It's so sad that he loses his
Everything.
best friend to cap things, start things off. He loses his sister,
His whole
and he loses his Jenny,
which was the worst part.
yeah.
whom he loves, which
Yeah.
was actually it was very sad. And there was some touching scenes that the couple of my favorite scenes. I'll go over the plot soon, but were when he confronts Colm when he's drunk and he comes in and he tells him you're not going to know. Well, it's funny because he said everybody knows who Mozart is. Colm says everybody knows who Mozart is. He goes, well, I don't. So that goes that theory. And then he says nobody's going to know. He says nobody cares if someone's nice.
You, Colm Darley. Do you know what you used to be?
No, Pádraig, what did I used to be?
Nice. You used to be nice. Didn't you not? And now, do you know what you are? Not nice.
Ah, well, I suppose niceness doesn't last then, does it, Pádraig? But will I tell you something that does last?
What? And don't say something stupid like music.
Music lasts.
Knew it!
And paintings last. And poetry lasts.
So does niceness.
Do you know who we remember for how nice they was in the 17th century?
Who?
Absolutely no one. Yet we all remember the music of the time. Everyone to a man knows Mozart's name.
Well, I don't, so there goes that theory. And anyway, we're talking about niceness. Not what's his name. My mommy, she was nice. I remember her. And my daddy, he was nice. I remember him. And my sister, she's nice. I'll remember her. Forever, I'll remember her.
And who else will?
Who else will what?
Remember Siobhan and your niceness. No one will. In 50 years' time, no one will remember any of us.
Because I'm nice. He used to be nice, and he says my mom was nice, my dad was nice, my sister's nice, right? And he's like, I remember her, which it was a
He
nice
also
little
said
moment
no
with
one
his sister.
no one cares about Mozart or Beethoven. Like he said, he was meant to say Beethoven, but
He says Borhoven.
I picked that up the second time. I was like, I think he meant Beethoven.
So, and the end of this part I like because shows Colm's a little bit full of shit. Like, so you could tell he's depressed.
Yeah, a little bit.
This is like a midlife thing with him. But he talks to his priest, and the despair back. No, it wasn't back. And the second time he says a little, but he's depressed, and he kind of, sees the way Patrick would never be depressed. Just simpleton. All he does is good normal chatting. He thinks.
Are you thinking Mikey right
Podrick
now?
likes.
Because
You're gonna tell me Podrick likes comic books and wrestling.
Okay, I was gonna say, because that's fucking you. You watch you read comic books and watch fucking wrestling. That's it. End of story. You're a fucking
chop off your hand.
Not aimless chatting. I said good normal chatting. But so he sees Podrick and he's like, this guy is just happy. He's not going to, his life's going to mean nothing, which it really does. It brings the larger question of, when you're gone 100 years from now, nobody's going to remember you unless you do something, to change the world or have some kind of leave some kind of art. But what's more important, to do that or, to be loved by the, and missed by the people?
Right. That's a good point.
Who care about you? Leave that type of
And
impression.
you talk about aimless chatter, and I don't feel like Dave and I don't have that. The other day he called me to tell me he went to the gym and he was working on his legs. So I mean, when you get stuff like that,
that's good normal
yeah,
chatting.
it's definitely good normal chatting.
Yeah.
Or today,
did he tell you what was in his donkey shite?
No, but he did ask me if I'm afraid of polar bears about a half hour ago. So this is
Holy shit. I'm going back and forth to see whoever Patrick is.
We both are.
But so Siobhan,
though, like how many of us feel like home though, where like you're at that point in your life and you're like, what the fuck have I done?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think everybody kind of has. We're doing a podcast, a meaningless podcast. Right?
This is my
that
legacy.
10 people listen to. I mean, right? I think everybody has that a little bit. So
this whole world, like he's just listening to this guy talk about fucking donkey shit for 2 hours, and he's like, "What the fuck have I done?" So look, you get both sides. That's the reality. Now,
yes, I mean you don't.
Little extreme,
right? Right, and also it was like It was almost like he not only put, a bunch of shit on Patrick as far as him not doing anything with his life and just being meaningless, but also it's his fault that the world isn't going to have the music of Colm because he makes him, self-mutilate himself, and he only
blame everybody.
Shop all five.
And when he went to his house that last time, and he's like, "Well, like you want to talk about fucking irrational? Basically, I have 10 fingers."
Yes. That was great. Yeah, and he goes, everything was normal until you chopped off, all your fingers. Let me do the plot real fast, and then we'll.
I was just going to say, talking about, it's definitely Colm's depression, because I know we're going to mention this in the plot, but when Patrick says, "I'm coming to your house tomorrow, make sure your dog's outside," he stayed inside when he lit it off. Like he sat there for a while. He was.
But he did, but he also, he didn't stay inside.
Right. He was questioning it, though. I feel like he probably thought, "Should I just stay?"
He was pretty. Well, let me bang this out, and then we'll talk about that. All right. During the 1923 Irish Civil War, on fictional island of Inisherin, Colm decides to ignore his best friend, Patrick, who lives with his sister Siobhan. Patrick confronts Colm, who says he is too dull, and Colm needs to spend the rest of his life writing music and not wasting time.
Are you rowing?
I didn't think we were rowing.
Well, you are rowing. Well, you are rowing. He's sitting outside in his own like a whatchamacall.
It does look like we're rowing. I suppose I best go talk to him, so see what all this is fecking about.
That'd be the best thing.
Now, I'm sitting here next to you, and if you're going back inside, I'm following you inside, and if you're going home, I'm following you there too. Now, if I've done something to you,
Just tell me what I've done to you. And if I've said something to you, maybe I said something when I was drunk and I've forgotten it, but I don't think I said something when I was drunk and I've forgotten it. But if I did, then tell me what it was. And I'll say sorry for that too, Colin. With all my heart, I'll say sorry. Just stop running away from me like some fool of a moody schoolchild.
But you didn't say anything to me. And you didn't do anything to me.
Well, that's what I was thinking, like.
I just don't like you no more.
Patrick is devastated, to say the least. Pushes the issue with Colm, gives him an ultimatum. Colm gives him an ultimatum: leave him alone, or he'll cut off a finger when he bothers him. After making comments to the local cop about beating his son, Dominic, Patrick is beaten, which Colm then
I love that.
drives him home.
In the postal
You see,
post
he
office.
still right. He's still kind of nice to him.
Oh yeah.
Patrick drunkenly confronts Colm, and later Dominic tells him that Colm said it's the most interesting he has been.
I don't give a feck about Mozart or Beethoven or any of them funny name feckers. I'm Pádraig Súilleabháin. And I'm nice. So you'd rather be friends with this fella, would you? Fella who beats his own son black and blue every night that he's not fiddling with him.
I never told him that, Daddy. He's just drunk now.
You used to be nice. Or did you never used to be? Oh, God. Maybe you never used to be.
Patrick attempts to apologize the next day, which results in Colm cutting off a finger and throwing it at Patrick's door. Patrick sees Colm meeting with Declan, a young musician, and then he tricks him to go home by telling him his father was hit with a bread pan.
Oh no, that's how my mother died.
That was rough. Old Mrs. I forget her name. Old lady warned Patrick 2 deaths are coming. Meanwhile, Dominic tries to woo Siobhan, but she politely turns him down.
There was something I was wanting to ask you, actually. And discovering how much we have in common, well, just makes me want to ask you even more.
We don't have anything in common.
Don't skip ahead. But yeah, what I was wanting to ask you was something along the lines of, should have planned this really. But yeah, what I was wanting to ask you was, you probably wouldn't ever want to, I don't know, to fall in love with a boy like me, would you?
Oh, Dominic, I don't think so, love.
Oh yeah, no. I was thinking no. Not even in the future, like when I'm your age. Yeah, no. I didn't think so. Just thought I'd ask on the off chance. You know, like, faint heart and that. Well, there goes that dream. Well, I best go over there and do whatever that thing over there I was gonna do was.
Patrick goes to Colm again, thinking he likes him drunk, and confronts him and tells him what he did to Declan. Colm tells Patrick he will meet him at the pub, but instead cuts off the remaining 4 fingers, throws them at Patrick's door. Siobhan tells devastated Patrick that she is leaving for the mainland for a job, and to make matters worse, Patrick comes home to find his pet donkey Jenny has choked on one of the fingers.
So that's one of the deaths, right? She said 2.
Yes, Jenny and Dominic.
Oh Jesus! Yeah.
Patrick, I've said Patrick 16, 17 times. Confronts Colm again, tells him he's going to set his house on fire too the next day.
I don't need your apologies, all right? It's a relief to me. So let's just call it quits and agree to go our separate ways. For good this time.
Your fat fingers killed me little donkey today. So no, we won't call it quits. We'll call it the start.
You're joking me.
Yeah, no, I'm not joking, yeah. So tomorrow, Sunday, God's day, around 2, I'm going to call up to your house and I'm going to set fire to it and hopefully you'll still be inside. But I won't be checking either way. Just be sure and leave your dog outside. I've nothing against that gum. Or you can do whatever's in your power to stop me. To our graves we're taking this. To one of our graves, anyways.
Which he does, making sure to take the dog Sammy with him.
Loved it.
The cop is on his way. What a piece of garbage this guy is on his way to confront Patrick when Mrs. McCormick, leads him to Dominic's body in the lake. The next day, Patrick just
How did
takes.
he die? He just was. What was he doing?
Did he kill himself?
I think he killed himself.
Oh,
I think
he
he did. The next day, Patrick takes back Sammy and finds Colm by his house and tells him the feud is not over and never will be.
Suppose me house makes us quits.
If you'd stayed in your house, that would have made us quits. But you didn't, did you? So it doesn't, does it?
I'm sorry about your donkey, Padraig. Honestly, I am.
I don't fucking care.
Haven't heard any rifle fire from the mainland in a day or two. I think they're coming to the end of it.
I'm sure they'll be at it again soon enough, aren't you? Some things there's no moving on from. And I think that's a good thing.
Wonderful. I have a question. His name is Padraig Sullivan.
Patrick.
Is that basically gets
Patrick
I
Sullivan.
was just gonna say, is that what gets kind of turned into Patrick Sullivan?
Well,
English?
I don't want to let's not brush over the ending because because when Colm says, I haven't heard a gunshot, meaning the war seems to be settling down. It's almost like he wants to kind of break that bread with him finally. All right, this is over now.
I think he does. I think he might
realize he pushed it too far.
And I actually was watching again for probably literally the sixth time I've seen this movie. But like you said, it gets more once you hit a certain point. It's kind of like Dread. It's kind of like Dread though, like watching the rest, just depressing. But I think maybe Colm does want to kind of break bread with him, and Patrick even, you could tell he's kind of a softie, but
Not
so
anymore.
maybe they would become friends again, even though
he does. He basically says the war is not over. It's inevitable. It's going to start again. So
yeah,
he's basically saying it's too late. And he went from that guy who was basically begging for that friendship back, and the change in him over the course of the movie to that ending was nope, it's done.
It turned him into a different person. And so Dominic's really the innocent one, right? And
He's
Dominic was devastated when he said, "That's the meanest thing I've ever heard."
But he's definitely mentally
challenged.
Dominic,
smarter than
at some points,
than Patrick, but he's kind of a savant, a little
autistic.
What is this, France?
Yeah. The exchange with his sister was so heart crushing.
It was, and she was nice about it, but he
goes, and he didn't know how to leave. He's like, I gotta go over there to do that
thing I was gonna do. Maybe he was gonna kill himself.
Oh.
But so it was funny. Yeah, even how sad it was. And she was trying to be nice about it, but
right.
He says, she says, "Oh, that old ghoul." He says, "That's what I call her a ghoul too." He goes, "We have so much in common. Us calling old people ghouls." That's what he said. His lines were with a stick, but when you think about it, that stick.
Look at this, I found a stick with a hook. What would you use it for, I wonder? To hook things or a length of a stick away?
I have the length of the stick. I don't know what to use it for. I could use it for, he's got the hook on the end of it. I can use it to get things that are a stick length away.
Such a great line.
That's what they get his body with, though.
Oh, I didn't even think of that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, he had some fantastic lines talking about his dad, talking about his piece of shit father with his tiny brown cock.
And even though Colm, didn't want to be friends with Patrick anymore, he wasn't going to let the cop talk that way. And the cop, will bully his son. He'll bully Patrick, but he won't. He will not take.
He also fiddles with him.
Right, that too. He will not. He'll take it from Colm. He won't stand up to him.
Well, Colm fucking right the fuck out. And that
He did.
So great.
When he talked about his donkey.
And then even when he got beat up by the cop, and Colm picks him up, puts him on his horse.
Yes,
holds him up a little bit, right? Like that was such a great scene too.
But then they hit the fork in the road.
It was.
Yeah.
And then you see him, crying just because it shows how devastated he was. I honestly thought Barry Keoghan should have maybe won an Oscar for that little role too, but like I said, he. Some other great characters.
Well, the guys at the bar.
The bartender and the other guy.
Well, I never heard the like.
I never heard the like. Must really not like you, Porrick.
Fingers.
Jesus, he's serious, lads.
He is serious. You can see it in his eyes he's serious.
Just because he thinks you're dull. That's going overboard.
Who told you about the doll?
Well, I overheard it. Like, what was I supposed to do? I don't think you're dull. And jeez, if I was to cut something off myself for every dull person that came in here, I'd only have my head left.
Do you think I'm dull, Jerry?
No. That said, I did think the two of ye always made a funny pairing, like.
No, we didn't.
Yeah, you did.
You did. Obviously you did. Because now he'd rather maim himself than talk to you.
Colin was always more of a thinker.
Huh? Why is I think.
You don't, Porrick.
You don't, Porrick.
Your sister does.
Your sister does, aye. Siobhan does.
You're more of a...
What is he?
You're more one of life's good guys.
You're more one of life's good guys, aye. Apart from when you're drunk.
Apart from when you're drunk, aye.
I used to think that'd be a nice thing to be. One of life's good guys. And now it sounds like the worst thing I ever heard.
Don't take it like that, Paul.
Don't take it like that, Porrick. We're on your side.
And he says, I always thought you and Colm made a funny pair. And he goes, no, we didn't. And he said, obviously, if you did, if he's willing to maim himself to stay away from you.
What an extreme way of doing it, though.
Right?
Cutting your
You
fingers
think?
fucking one at a time, and then all.
I love when the dog takes the shears and drags it out.
Yeah.
Like I didn't think he was going to do it after that.
Mikey, will you do that if I stop hanging out? Oh, actually, no, that'd be me.
you.
That'd have to
I
come
would cut off
yeah.
your head if you want me to. I'll help you.
One of my favorite funny scenes was when Colm was giving confession.
Oh, with the priest, yes.
To the priest.
And
then he says, do you have impure... So Patrick asks the priest to put in a nice word. He's like, is that a sin? No, it's not very nice. And then he says, are your impure thoughts about Patrick? And that's when he says, are you feckin' joking?
How's the despair?
Not so much of it of late, thanks be.
And why aren't you talking to Porrick Sullivan no more?
That wouldn't be a sin now, would it, Father?
It wouldn't be a sin, no. But it's not very nice either, is it?
Who told you?
It's an island, Colin. Word gets around. Also, Porrick asked me to put in a word, like.
I see.
So. It isn't him you have impure thoughts about, is it?
You're joking me. I mean, are you feckin' joking me?
People do have impure thoughts about men, too.
Do you have impure thoughts about men, Father?
I do not have impure thoughts about men. And how dare you say that about a man of the cloth?
Well, you started it.
Well, you can get out of my confessional right now, so you can. And I'm not forgiving you any of these things until the next time, so I'm not.
Well, I better not be dying in the meantime then, Father? I'll be pure fucked.
You will be pure fucked. Yes, you will be pure fucked.
And then he's not going to give him forgiveness. Right. And he says, well, I guess if I die, I guess I'm pure fucked.
Yeah, he goes, right.
And then you are pure fucked.
He's yelling at him to get it.
He says it twice. He yells it.
I love in so the when he confronts him and says, maybe you're not nice, and the whole talk about Mozart.
In Beethoven.
But the oh God, what's the sister's name? Siobhan says,
except it's
she calls him out. He doesn't even get the century right.
I'll have a word with him, Colm. You don't need to do anything drastic. He won't be bothering you no more.
That's a shame. It's the most interesting he's ever been. I think I like him again now.
It was the 18th century anyway. Mozart, not the 17th.
Yes, okay, that's why I said he was full of shit a little bit. The sister's like, yeah, you're not this,
Right.
this deep, great thinker.
Renaissance
You don't
man.
even know what century Mozart was.
I
So
like what you tight though, and your music.
What's
shite.
that?
He used to say, I'm gonna write this part on Monday. I'm gonna write this part on the next day.
Yes.
He's like, yeah, your music's shite, so fuck off. Like,
Well, and then the next time though he saw him, that's great. And then he goes, I mean, it's better than great. It's really great. So what was I going to say? Oh, as far as the sister Siobhan, I think obviously what she has in common with Holm though is, I mean, she sees that, that just wasting your life on. She probably sees
She's a little more
Inisherin as kind of
educated.
like
Right,
a prison.
yep.
These people are going nowhere. They're not doing anything. That's why, you're all dull.
Right, she says
lonely.
all of them.
She said it to him. I'm lonely, and she's like, "Aren't you ever lonely?" And he's like, "What are you talking about? His
yeah,
whole world is there."
I know.
So, like, and I don't get it because the guy doesn't have like a companion, a woman companion, or anything like that. It's just he's okay
He
being
has some great sweaters though.
He has great
Those
sweaters.
outfits.
I read that there was one
I thought
woman
you
who
would be-
made all these sweaters.
Oh,
Yeah.
really? Did you mention that before?
I saw it in the trivia. I just saw it when I was looking at it quickly yesterday.
Yeah. But I love how Patrick never would be cruel to an animal, though. Remember,
well,
he's like, why would I hurt you? He comes
Jenny-
to the dog. He goes, I didn't come here for licks. He smiles. He comes, he came to confront Colm, and the dog starts licking him, and he smiles. And then he's like, wait, no, I didn't come here for licks. I came for the opposite of licks.
when he brings Jenny dies and he brings her in the house, even though his sister kept saying not in the house, not in the house, and he's just holding her on
know.
his lap. Oh, that killed me. And I was
Oh,
ready for him
that
to
was rough.
burn down his fucking house.
Great acting by Jenny.
Jesus.
Walking into not that part.
Oh, yeah.
Walking into the house though, and he's,
Oh yeah.
when she yelled at him.
She was in the Oscars. She was at, I don't know if it was the same Jenny, but I brought her out
Was
at
it-
the
was
one of the
she really?
awards, I
That's
think.
funny.
Yeah. Well, the Globes, one of them.
Well,
So-
I'm very excited to watch this movie. Fantastic. I was actually very surprised how much I liked it the first time I watched it too, because I just thought it was gonna be one of those, But my God, a fucking great movie.
At first,
It really
I
is
just
just
remember thinking,
goes to
this is not realistic. The guy wouldn't chop his fingers off. Then I realized it's a movie. It's a metaphor. It's like, it's supposed to be
it's
extreme.
Shakespearean.
Yeah.
It's like a fable
Well, 'cause
in a way.
You
know what I
like
mean?
to watch, like, you read a lot of like comic books, and you
Yes,
watch a
I
lot
do.
of fake wrestling.
What
What do you mean read? Reading.
He's
You
reading.
know, Dave
books.
talked about a show.
His books.
Fucking hell.
Talked about he's all excited for Umbrella Academy. Well, guess what? That was a comic book, buddy.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Well, you
Mikey.
should be. You should be.
I was insulting
And
you.
you
Your
know what?
comic book.
I like to watch a lot of things, David. But you know what? Are there any final words before I segue? I use this as a smooth segue to what we're doing next.
My final words to you were: we are no longer friends.
Goodbye forever.
This moment on, we will only talk during fucking podcasts. So don't call me between. Don't text me at all. I actually hate you.
He's dumb.
And yet,
He is
if
dumb.
I showed you
You're
my
very different.
What?
With you don't have a lot of culture.
I don't have a
So
lot
I
of
don't-
culture.
No, you don't.
I have more culture than you do in all your plugs. Now you listen.
Oh, holy.
I
Are
now
you
listen.
fucking kidding?
Yeah, I like what I like, and sure, I watch some things
And
that people might
you like your dad's pizza. That's fine.
people might think are
So
immature. What? Yes, Christopher, save us.
I'm just going to interject. I was doing the "Are you fucking stupid?"
Yes,
is
he is.
because like she was so shocked. She was so outraged because he was Patrick was going to bring the finger in the box back to Colm, and he said, and he's like, "Oh, I'm just gonna bring it back to him." And that's when she's like, "Are you fucking stupid?"
Do we have to have it in here while we're eating?
Once I finish my porridge, I'll bring it back to him.
Are you feckin' stupid? I mean, are you feckin' stupid?
No, I'm not feckin' stupid. We've had this discussion.
You've got to leave him alone now, Porrig, for good.
Do you think?
Do I think? Yeah, I do think. He's got his feckin' finger off and thrown it at you.
Come on, it wasn't at me.
Well, listen, he is kind of dumb, though. He is kind of dim. Like, why
Of course
wouldn't
he
you
is.
leave him the fuck alone? Just leave him alone.
Mm-hmm.
It was infuriating at one point. Like, just leave the guy alone. Why don't you just?
I wish
let it
I wish
die?
that was your children talking to you when you're about to call me. That's what I wish. Just leave that guy alone.
Just leave him alone.
Now, I was going to make a joke segueing from this movie to our next movie, but I'm not going to do that now because we found out earlier today that one of the people on this show has never seen this movie that we're doing next. Talk about cultured. Next time, he didn't even know what it was. Next time, we are traveling back to David Fincherville. We're traveling back to 1995, where we're not going to see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6. We are going to see and talk about, David for the first time is going to see 7.
Wow, I've never heard of this movie. I'm so excited. But you say I'm not cultured, but you didn't watch fucking The Graduate, which was an all-time great.
I've seen it.
Did you not?
I did. Yeah, I did a podcast about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have.
Why
some,
are you guys laughing?
I have
It's not
some.
a movie.
I have some holes in my viewing, just like you have some holes in your head. It's.
That's what she said.
Yes.
Oh, in your viewing.
Well, that too. Yes. So yes, next time I'm excited for David to see this movie. I think he will be freaked out, and
Mind blown.
I'm looking forward to it. But
what's in the cup?
But until next time, you can find us on Twitter at @fine_movies. You can find us
Mike, you
on
see what-
Instagram
yeah,
at
you-
Fine Movies, Fine Spirits. David, where can they find every episode of this podcast? What's the website?
Fans Not Experts.
.com. Yes, David. Any parting words before we leave?
No, not really. Maybe you. No, I'm good.
Good thing we don't pay him per
parting
word. Christopher, any parting words for you?
No, I just remembered though that we didn't mention this is a great Valentine's breakup movie.
It is a great breakup movie,
You know,
and it
recording on
taking a
Valentine's
moment
Day.
now, David. I'm breaking up.
Breaking up.
David.
But
yes, I'm sorry, Christopher.
Well done, gentlemen.
Yes, well done.
Mike,
Nope, that was
Say
it.
goodbye, David.
Happy Valentine's
Happy
Day.
Valentine's
You
Day.
fucking what? I'm not motorboating you like you asked me to do the other day either.
You thought about it.
Disgusting.
It took you this long to get back to me?
We talk about great movies while drinking. We talk about great movies while drinking. Yeah, we talk about great movies while drinking. And we feel fine.
Did we decide we're doing 7 next time?
I guess so.
I don't even know what 7 is, but sure.
Seriously?
No, don't know what 7 is.
Is he joking?
It's the sequel to 6.
Fans Not Experts.